Yes, very much welcome. And whether you're listening at home or whether you're listening today, I'm just inviting you to 90 minutes of you. 90 minutes of just slowing it down, taking a beat, connecting in, and just traveling this material for 90 minutes and see where it takes you. A little bit about me, I work with leaders. This situation reminds me a lot of what we did in COVID with M&S. And people were super busy. Do you remember Stacey? Super busy in the day to day, and they would come on these calls and something would settle and they'd walk out feeling more grounded, more clear, more calm, more ready to face the day. That's what I hope for you from today. That whatever you're navigating, whatever you're up against, you feel resourced to meet it today. So, a little bit about me. I've been doing this, it's too long. I mean, not too long, but 32 years. It's a long time. And do you know what? It's still exciting after 32 years to be able to have conversations that leave people thinking, feeling, and doing better after them. And it's my privilege. And those of you, any of you that have been following me anywhere, on any platform, may have heard that I've written a book. And it became clear that actually I've written two books because I put everything I knew from 32 years of working with leaders into the first one. And it was like a Jewish mama feeding everybody till they couldn't eat anymore. So I decided to put it into two books. And the first book is about leading yourself, being wise. And that's what this webinar is about today. Because I realized that's at the heart of what it is that I want to offer people is the capacity to know that they already have everything they need within them. There's something you can count on, no matter what the world is doing. And I don't know about you, but the world seems to be very noisy and uncertain and a lot of other feelings. So even though, even though all of that, there is still something we can count on to ground us. And that's what the journey is today. And some of you will have heard this all before, and some of you, this is completely new. And wherever you are from that spectrum to already teaching it to this is something new for you, you're in the right place. Because we're only going to talk about what it is to be human. And I'm going to guess, just checking about Claire, whether or not this is true, but everyone on this call is human. So we can be completely relaxed and just able to be our normal selves. Um, I'm going to offer today, as simply as I can, the single most useful thing that I think orients us when we're navigating change. And I need three things for that to happen. I'm going to share my experience of that, my understanding of that. But for this session to really make any real lasting impact on you, I'm going to invite you to share as well, not in the public group so much, but in pairs. Now, if you're here listening to this, there probably isn't a pair to share with. So then you're going to do this journey with yourself privately, quietly. But what I've learned in life is I can say all the brilliant things, and all the clever things and all the, teach all the right things. But unless it lands in you, it's not useful to you. So what I've designed today is a little journey that allows you to have your own aha, your own sense of clarity, reassurance, because that's more useful to you than anything I might say. Now, I'm not going to lie. I hope something I say does trigger that for you. But in the end, what you walk away with is your wisdom for you. And that's really what I'm hoping for from today. And for that, we're going to need a little interaction and engagement, but hopefully in a safe kind of way where if you're sharing, you're kind of just sharing from choice or with just one other person. And if you want to comment on anything or answer a question I'm asking, the chat. That's what the chat's for. So I'm just going to assume after 5 years since COVID, six nearly, We all have been in Zoom rooms and team rooms and we know where the chat is. And if we don't, just raise your hand now and I will sort you out. Or Daryl, who is my co-host, will sort us out. Um, and if you want to comment on something, please just pop it in the chat when I ask you a question. Okay, so four things if you want to get the most out of this session today. And if you've ever worked with me, these will be familiar to you. I would love it if you were to take stuff off your mind today. Leave it at the door. Leave yourself. Oh, I've raised my own hand without knowing it. Okay. Leave yourself and all your concerns and questions about life, your busy mind, your things to do. Just leave them for 90 minutes and just see what happens. So I'm going to invite you to come on the barge. So in life, we're normally on the speedboat, boom, boom, on to the next. It's kind of exciting and thrilling, but we don't see much. It's too busy there. It's kind of a lot going on and it's fast. So there's nothing wrong with the speedboat. But if you really want to get what you came for, what intrigued you about this webinar, we're going to have to get on the barge. And the barge is like a canal boat. They go through canals and they go so slowly you can walk faster than a barge. This is why I use that metaphor. So we kind of leave ourselves our concerns, you could say, at the door, and we just come on this barge. I'm going to drive the barge somewhere. You don't have to do much. You just have to show up, be there fully, and then we'll see where that leads us by the end of the journey. The second thing that I would like to suggest is that all of you is welcome. And what I mean is obviously you're welcome on this webinar, but all parts of you are welcome here. Your feelings, your real self. You don't have to share them, but just for you, just for the next 90 minutes, just welcome all of it, whatever's real for you. You don't have to pretend with you here. You just can be you. So just welcome and give yourself space to be. And we'll see why that's so important later on. So often we've got a narrative of how we think we should be in a given setting, how we think we should be on a webinar, how we think we should be as a leader, how we think we should be running our business, how we think we should be with others. We're going to let yourself be what you actually are today. Just get a little taste of that. And then when you're sharing or listening to others, I'm going to invite you to listen from maybe a different place. Now, some of you won't know me, and this is the first time you've heard me, so this is a big ask. But instead of listening like we normally do to evaluate, to assess, to analyze, do I like it, not like it? I call that listening from the head. Perfectly valid, very helpful if you're ordering wine. I prefer this bouquet. There's a logical, rational part of us. We need it. It's great. But it doesn't lend itself to true deep learning. So I'm going to invite us all here to just have an intention, really, to open our hearts today, to listen to each other, to hear the stories we hear, whether they're from me or others, and to just be open to this material. And if we are, then the fourth thing I'm inviting you to be good soil. Because the more you can let yourself be absorbent of today's material, it will go to the roots. It will work. It will go where it needs to go. So you don't have to write loads of notes. You can if you like. That some people love to do that, but you don't need to because the material will go in deeper if your mind and your head isn't evaluating. If you just receive it, like good soil receives the rain. So they're my four tips how to be here. And yeah, just what to expect in the next 90 minutes is I am going to tell you a little story of my own that is just something that I remember when it happened was a big fat no. I don't want this to happen. So we'll all have those kind of stories. And I invite you to bring one of those today, just as a kind of something to use as your material for the content we're going to be covering. So then we're going to hear your stories of change. And how we're going to do that is we're going to just get into small pairs, and you've got a choice. You cannot do the exercise, it's allowed. You can do it, or one of you can do it. You can both do it, or one of you can do it. But the exercise is super simple. It's remember a time when you were up against something. It was challenging. It's in the past now. You've got through it. But when you look back, you're like, that was a big change or a big challenge for me. And then I want you to just say a few things about what happened and how you felt. But then mostly I want you to think about what got you through. And when you look back now, what you've learned. So we'll be doing that, and I'll be doing it. I'll be going first. But when we look back, what do we see with hindsight? And that's going to be important to set us up for the next session, which is what is this game changer that helps us navigate change? So I'm going to do a little talk on that and just share from my heart what I've seen about it, what I know to be true, and a couple of slides. There will be slides. Mostly there won't be slides, but there will be a couple of slides. And anything I show you, I will send you afterwards as a PDF, plus a few. If I say anything else that I think you should have access to, I'll give you that. But you will get a little PDF of any slides I do show you. And then towards the end of the session, so do stay if you can. And if you can't, listen to the recording later. But there'll be a couple of activities where you really connect with your own wisdom about change and give some advice to yourself. And we'll put you through something called future pacing, which is when it's what sports people do if they want to really have their A game, is they think of a situation they're going to be in and they imagine themselves in their most resourceful, wise place. So we'll be finishing off with a nice, nourishing exercise to resource you and make sure you have all the things in your bag to carry as you go on the journey forward from here. Okay, so, and then if we have time, which we may not, I might read you one of my poems. And if not, I've got a short little quote to leave you with to inspire you. So that's the journey on the barge. A little bit of me, a little bit of you, and a little bit of my perspective, and then some things for you to take away. I hope that sounds interesting. No one has left yet, so I'll take that as a good sign. And if you're listening at home, I hope that you've given yourself some space around you to just quietly go through the journey with us together. Okay, so my story of change. It's 20 years ago, 23 years ago, 23 years ago. I'm in my house in Brighton. It's overlooked St. Answell's Gardens, which is lovely and a really great place for kids. And I'm 6 months earlier, we'd moved in and we painted every room, clutter cleared, made it all beautiful. And I'd had a second baby whilst we were living in that house. And this one day, I'm on the floor on all fours, wailing like a banshee. I had to look up banshee, and that's exactly the right word. It was grief, it was keening, it was something was coming out of me that was big, and everyone in the house was running to the room. What had happened? I had a letter in my hand. In the letter from the landlords, they were kicking us out to sell the property 6 months after we'd moved in as a young family, had a second baby. We were given the impression it was long term. We'd invested. And of course, like with any rental things, this can happen. But it was just unexpected and it was devastating. I was on the floor. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. It was one of those unbelievable ones. It was out of the blue. And let's just say I was not in a resourceful state. My mind was not very clear, and all I could think, I was devastated and I'd lost all faith. It had taken us so much to find this house, and it was so great. And I just couldn't believe this was happening to us. And I couldn't see it working out. And it's funny to say that now, but I do remember the moment, and it definitely looked real, and it definitely looked devastating, and it definitely looked hopeless. So I did know enough to know that I was not reliable at that moment in time to understand what was going on and to look after myself. So I, phoned a friend and I called a few friends, and I can see what got me through that time was their faith and hope and them saying it's all going to work out for you, don't worry. And I didn't really believe it at first, but then over time, I started to sort of listen to that more than my own noise in my head, the fear. And as I started to kind of embrace another perspective, which was in this case coming from my friends, I started to feel like a sense of possibility that maybe it could work out. And as I started to sense this possibility, I noticed that I started to have more hopeful thoughts and I started to see more ideas and I started to take action. Because when I was in the midst of the no, not this change energy, I wasn't taking any action. And I was only afraid. And whatever action I didn't believe in, really. But when I started to see possibility, I was able to have this hope and faith again, a little glimmer of it. And I went in that direction. I started to think and feel better. And eventually, that journey, would you believe it, led me to a house 2 doors up the road with the same view. And it wasn't as nice a house, but it had 2 attic rooms, which meant that my then really good friend, who became my best friend, and her daughter could move in and live with us. And that was one of the happiest times of my life. And I would never have predicted that. And what I can see now, just that's a little vignette moment 23 years ago, but subsequently, and especially I'd say in the last 10 to 15 years, but I have navigated unwelcome change and challenge, as you will have, many times, because that's what it is to be human. We get ideas of what we want, something happens, that thing gets threatened or taken away, we feel loss and devastation. But we don't have to stay there because the nature of human nature is to settle. And when we settle, we see more options and we have different shifts in perspective. And we'll be talking about that a lot more today. And what I've seen is I've had many losses since then of homes, family members, job opportunities, contracts that were looking signed and it's suddenly gone. So where it hurts, your heart, your money, your security. And I can honestly say, and it got tested a week and a half ago, because we've decided that we are going to leave the house that we're in right now. And it took me from, I want to say in the morning, it was still an oh no, not gonna lie. That's what happens, right? Oh no, that's the reaction. We're going to have it. So let's not try and get rid of that. But what I noticed was that I was able to meet that in a new way, accept it. And I swear to you, true story, by the afternoon, it was an oh yes, I see the possibility here. So to have that kind of bounce back ability is really available to every one of us. It's not just the domain of me, the teacher of this stuff. And by the way, I am my first pupil. I am the one that it needs to work for. Go first. That's what leaders do. We go first with ourselves. And then we learn what we need to learn. And then we can maybe point a light to others, but first us. And I think that's a theme that's really important in the world right now. It's easy to point out there, but look to see where you can work with you. And that's what will strengthen you in the face of all what we see outside. So I think I want to move on now. And I just want to say a little bit more about that. So I want to say that there's something we can trust. There's something we can trust no matter what. And sadly, it's not other people. All things are temporary. All jobs, or homes, or people, or places. But there's something inside of us. You could call it your essence. You could call it your soul if you were that way inclined. You could call it just simply the energy that animates you, because we do know that we're alive. So something is animating us. Let's call it the energy. And the energy of us has built into it something we can trust. And that's what we're going on the journey now to find out what that is. So I think that I'm ready. I don't know if you are, to tell a short story to one other person if you're willing. What is something you've navigated, a change or a challenge? And then what were the facts, the letter in your hand and the fact you had to move out? And how did you feel about the facts? In my case, devastated, shocked, and horrified. But what got you through? In my case, that was really realizing that I wasn't in a clear state of mind and talking to other people, and they helped me through. But what I see now that I couldn't see then, it all works out. It all works out. And 32 years of life and working with leaders, I can see that. I've worked with so many people that got made redundant or lost an opportunity and really thought it was the end of the world. Some cases, very sad things as well, losing a child, losing, I don't need to go into the details of what's really sad, but when they look back, they can see something now that they couldn't see then. And that's what I'd like you to really spend your time on. What is your insight now? What, with the benefit of hindsight, what do you see? And that's what I'd love you to do, is to just take a few minutes now. I'm going to give you 3 or 4 minutes each. And if you're ready to come back, you just come back. And otherwise, give each other 3 or 4 minutes. And there's value in doing this exercise for its own sake, but it will help us as we go forward and we understand more about what we can count on and to how we can lead ourselves through change. So if you're listening to this at home, you might just take a minute to think about what happened, how did you feel, what got you through, and what you can see now that you couldn't see then. Well, welcome back. We've got Sarah joined us, and I've just heard her story, which was a very interesting one around experiencing car accident and a lot of pain, and then suddenly realizing that it was her awareness of the pain that was what was making the pain more impactful to her. And she sort of had this big epiphany that she's always okay, even when she's in pain. Can everybody hear me okay? It's just Claire. Okay. So that she realized one day that it was the pain was really a function of what she focused on. It didn't mean she didn't navigate her pain and know what to do with it when it arose, but it was so much more to do with her own awareness. Is that a fair summation there, Sarah?
Yeah, that my once I started to understand how my thinking was fueling my symptoms, it was huge because I had a lot of extra thinking about what life was going to be like, if I was going to have that forever. Actually, like there was a point where I thought if I've got 50 years left of these symptoms, I'd rather be dead. There's all sorts of things that you add on.
Yeah,
And once I started to see something about taking less of that or not listening so much to it,
yeah,
nothing had really changed, but I was able to manage everything that much better. And of course, that just snowballs then.
beautiful. Absolutely. I'm so grateful that you have had that understanding to navigate what must have been quite a big challenge. I think, our bodies, our loved ones, our homes, and our security of money, jobs. These are the places where we can easily feel unsettled. And then the state of the world that we find ourselves in that's very uncertain, things that we've never seen before or understood coming down the line to us. So I really want to pick up on something Sarah said there, My thoughts about what life is going to be like. That right there is one of the biggest things that get in our own way when it comes to any kind of unexpected change or challenge. My thoughts about what my life is going to be like, that's just not thoughts, that's real in my head, looking real. It's affecting how I feel now to the point where if that's real, I don't even want to be here. You heard her say that. That's how powerful our minds can be. However, I'm just going to share a slide that I've made for you earlier. When we are stressed, we forget that when we are stressed and anxious, we are terrible fortune tellers. Now, that seems quite a light, fun thing to say, but in truth, we live with the fortunes that we are telling in our heads, just like Sarah did. And we all do it from time to time. It's called catastrophic thinking. And it looks real when we think it. Just like when Sarah gives attention to the pain, that looks real and it looks more visible to her. And then what comes along with it is a lot of thoughts about the future and how terrible it's going to be. This is true for us all. This is how we all work. So what she's also saying there is when I had less on my mind about this catastrophic future and I was more with the present moment, I noticed I did better. I was thinking and feeling better and doing better when I had less on my mind. So we'll come back to that. Now, what I'd like to just hear briefly from a couple of you, we don't need the whole story, but just the insight. What was the golden nugget, if you wish to share? You can pop it on the chat, or would anybody like to share it out to like we did with Sarah's? Would anybody like to just tell us the last piece? What was your golden nugget of insight that you got from that challenge? And if not, we can just pop it in the chat. I'm seeing some very typey faces, so I'm going to guess you're typing it into the chat rather than talking to me, but that's okay. We've had Sarah talk to us today. So what kind of things am I going to see in the chat? What are some of your insights? I can't control how others behave, only myself, and I am okay with that. That's a real juicy one. How much energy do we all put into trying to control how others behave? Husbands, children, neighbors. And that the peace of mind, the settling of the mind, that can be very noisy. I mean, I'm thinking of a group that I attended a while ago, and I definitely wanted to control other people, and that was the road to hell. Release control and focus on what I can control. So we're back to control. So it's almost like let go of what is not happening now and be where I am and take the right next step and do what makes sense. And that's enough. Well done, Steph. Okay. I'm going to move us on. Thanks, Claire, for offering. I might talk to you in a little bit, but I'm going to move us on because I do have a tight schedule. Normally, I just riff on these things, but I felt like I owed you a bit of deep and profound preparation in a few slides. So I have a schedule. But here's the thing. I want to go into the game changer, the real meat of this session. And to do that, I want to distinguish what is it that that can guide us through any situation that we might find ourselves in, and where do we find it? Okay. And for this, I'm going to tell you a story. And this is a true story of Emma, who has fully allowed me to tell her story because she's so pleased that it went this way. And Emma came on one of my programs that I do in-house for major retailer, and it's called Leading Self, Leading Yourself. And at the beginning of that program, we ask everyone who comes on that program, what would be a miracle? Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. What would be a miracle for you? And Emma popped up and she's like, I will tell you, and I know it's a miracle because I asked for a miracle, something slightly out of reach, something you haven't managed to crack before. And she's like, I know it's a miracle. It's completely beyond my reach. I'll never be able to have it. So it's a miracle. And I'm like, oh, Emma, that's intriguing. Tell me your miracle. And she said this, something like this. I want to stand on stages in front of my senior leadership team at M&S. And I don't want to feel confident. I don't want to feel terrified. That was her miracle. And here's the thing. She knew that she couldn't do that because she had studied everything about this subject. So I'm just going to show you a metaphor. This is my Kindle. This is a metaphor for all the knowledge and all the information in the world. These days, we can even tap it into AI. So this is the metaphor for all the intellectual knowledge and information that exists in the world today. Yes, it was Emma Burrell. And she's let me, she's in my book as well. She's let me. So this represents Emma's studies into other people's expertise, knowledge, everything they knew, what they said to do, how they approached it, and imagine the audience naked. Weirdly, that didn't work with the senior leaders of M&S. It was do something to shift your state, do something. And she tried all the things. And what was super interesting is that Emma could have written a book on presenting because she had all the intellectual information. But that wasn't making a change for her. That was not shifting her perspective. That was not giving her what she really, really wanted, which is to feel confident in herself when presenting. So the logic, therefore, is intellectual information isn't the whole picture. Let me just show you a little slide what I exactly mean by intellectual information. It is, let me figure out where to put, there we are. It is what we learn from others, other experts. It tends to be right, wrong, good, bad, black, white, structured, binary in nature. So it's data. And it's sort of it's got a heady feeling. It's logical, it's rational, it's objective, it's got a kind of in your head about it. And it's based on information that you can capture with your senses. It tends to lead towards theories or concepts. It's stuff that you need to remember. So a lot of us, when we go on training or at school, we had to write everything down and memorize it. And it works on paper. It's academic. So I consider this to be our conscious knowledge, what we know, or what someone else knows they know, and they pass it over to us. And this is absolutely fantastic. It's super helpful. And there are times when I've read someone else's intellectual knowledge and it's really given me something useful and practical. So it's not negative in any way. However, it's not the same as something else that is represented by this little book here. This is our own knowing. This is our own wisdom. This is my notebook. And every morning and every night, I make a few little notes of my own, what I'm seeing for myself, my own reflection. That is the kind of knowing, as opposed to just intellectual knowledge, that can change your perspective. And that's what we want, as we've seen earlier in our little storytelling and our individual storytelling and my little storytelling, that when we shift our perspective to something that where we feel better, and also with Sarah's story, we change. The situation may not change in terms of circumstance, but our capacity to meet it changes. And we receive something I like to call your own insight. Sight deep from within you. And we all have the capacity within us to experience our own insight, our own wisdom. Other words for it. Don't get caught up on the words. It's not in the words. It's some people say click, pop. I had a hunch, an instinct, an intuition, a gut feel. I just knew. The penny dropped. I had this realization. Eureka, aha, some kind of epiphany. So a moment. Somebody said the other day they had a ping. It's not the word, it's the quality, the feeling. And the feeling, I want to just say, feels like common sense. Oh, yes, that makes sense to me. And you feel it, it's enlightening, it brings clarity, you can trust it, you recognize it, and there's often a sense of simplicity or certainty in it. Can come out of the blue, out of nowhere. Oh, I know what I need to buy my mother for her birthday. I wasn't thinking about that, but it's just popped in, and I'm just going to take that action now. It's sort of our own capacity for insightful knowing. It feels like an embodied knowing in your bones, unique and tailor-made for you, but you feel it, it's embodied. And I like to call it heart-powered. It has your best interests at heart. My word for this is your wisdom. You were born with it. You have the capacity for it. And it's all you ever need to learn to listen to when you're navigating change. Like I said, I'll be sharing the slides with you. So let's just talk about where insight, this capacity for wise insight comes from and where it maybe doesn't come from, or it's harder. When we make space and we are settled, which I want to say probably is the opposite of feeling hyper stressed, when we settle down on the inside, there's more room. There's more, we can hear more. See, most of the time, and I'm not going to lie, in the Western world, this is desired and facilitated, is we are busy is seen to be good. I'm sorry to break your little hearts now, my own too. I like to be busy. But a busy with your hands, yes. Busy with your minds, not so much. We are designed to be here now in the present moment, dealing with what's in front of us. The baby, the cooking, the driving of the car, the chopping of the wood, whatever, the spreadsheet, whatever's right in front of us now. We don't do so well when our mind's going in 100 different directions on other things. We don't. We do best when we're here fully, maybe busy with our hands, but fully present with one thing, focused. So there's a quality of being present and focused that contributes to you hearing your own wisdom. Now, as we've alluded to today, it's a noisy world out there. There's a lot of headlines. There's a lot of stuff on our feeds if we have them. There's other people. There's a lot of reason to feel busy in our minds. There's other people's needs, what they're saying they need. So when we're thinking about a lot of things, we can't so easily hear the signal. That's noise. We can't hear the signal of our own knowing. I once heard a metaphor described like this. It's like the brass band of life is constantly playing. And when we're listening to it, the flute's in there, but we can't hear it because of the noise that we're paying attention to. So this little flute that we have within that's quietly saying, go left, stop, pause, we can easily override it. And I tell you what I have noticed, the single most thing that overrides it more than anything else is your expectation of how you think you should be. I'm going to call that your should. When you get an idea, I shouldn't be like this, they shouldn't be like that, life shouldn't be like that. When you're resisting and having a big it should or shouldn't be the way that it is, and it isn't, that right there creates a lot of noise. And more than anything, you will know it by the feeling. It feels like a burden. Your shoulds are killing you. I am here to tell you the good news. You can put your burden down of shoulds because this wisdom that you have within will guide you to what is exactly right for you in this moment, the right next step. And I'm not talking about those anxious places where we're spinning. That's noise. I'm talking about that simple, clean, clear clarity of just aha. And by the way, if you did the exercise earlier and you did have nuggets of gold based on your story of challenge, they're called the wisdom of hindsight. Hindsight and insight are exactly the same thing. We can just shorten the time. So I want to say the best metaphor I've ever heard that describes all of this is the shaking of a snow globe. If you imagine a snow globe shaking, that's your head sometimes. And we're the shakers. Oh, I should be more like this. Oh, I should do that. We're the shakers. And people often say, well, okay, I get this. I see what wisdom is. I know, I see I have it sometimes. I want more of it. How do I have more of it? It would be the obvious question. This may feel flimsy. I promise you, it is everything. You stop shaking the snow globe. You notice you are, because sometimes you don't know you're doing it, and you notice it by your bad day version of you. So when you're having a bad day and you're doing that thing you do, so I'll just tell you mine. You can work out your own. I'll put some suggestions in the PDF. You'll find one that fits you. So me, I get a little shouty and impatient. It's not my best look, not gonna lie. I managed to not do it this morning. Um, but often when I'm feeling tense or anxious about something or even excited, I can get hyper focused and things need to go this way, a little bit like that on a bad day. That's not my normal self. That's my bad day self. So we've all got a version of us on our bad day. Some of us hide, some of us, are strident, some of us create distraction and chaos. Some of us ignore our own needs and try and fix everyone else. We've all got our own. Some of us get really critical, nitpicky. We've all got our own bad day version of us because we're human. It's fantastic we have that because it tells us something. It tells us that we're shaking our own snow globe. So the very first and most useful thing you can do is stop doing that. Stop shaking the snow globe. Notice that your bad day you is like a traffic light telling you to slow down. It's not telling you the truth about you or the future. It's a state of mind that you're temporarily in. So, okay, I know I'm shaking my snow globe. What next? Yeah, you put it down. You let you settle. And if you pay attention, your own system, your own inner guru, your wise guide inside will tell you what you need if you ask. What do I need right now? I need food, as obviously Steph is needing right now. I need water. I need to breathe. Just breathe. I need to phone a friend. I need to go for a walk. I need to do my yoga. I need to get on with that list of things to do because that's all I need to do. I just need to do my list instead of think about my list. There isn't a right answer, but the truth of what you need is available to you in each moment when you settle, when you slow down your thinking, when you pause and just breathe, and you set the snow globe down and you make space. You have less on your mind and you make space for yourself to hear your own insightful wisdom. Back to Emma. So Emma's on the stage. She's not, she's 2 weeks after the course. She's not paying attention to all this. She's learned that she's got wisdom now. And suddenly she's on the stage. She tells us 2 weeks after this happened that she's standing live on the stage and she's feeling all the feels that she normally feels and she's not feeling confident. But while she's standing there, she has a life-changing insight. She suddenly realized that all of her attention was going towards her, how she was doing and how she was feeling. Getting more of it, what you focus on grows. And none of her attention was going on the audience and the fact that they were sitting there wanting to hear from her what she had to say. Now, I believe other people had told Emma that, put your attention on the audience. But for Emma, that was their intellectual knowledge. She had a live, in real time, life-changing epiphany when she saw where she was putting her attention. And in the minute she saw it, she began to put her attention on the audience and the fact they needed her to speak what she was speaking about. And she said, I cannot believe I've got my miracle. I actually enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed giving that presentation when I had that insight. And this is what I'm trying to distinguish for you, the power of your own clarity, your own shift in perspective, and how you can have more of it. Because in an ever-changing world, we cannot anchor ourselves to other people and what they think and what they say. We have to find, step by step, walk our own path. And it's never been more important. And the good news is, it's your wisdom is connected to a greater intelligence that you can trust. And you know that because when you're in the calm, clear place, it feels better. And that's the clue. So this is the Leading Yourself Masterclass, but I'm intending and hoping that leaders and change makers and founders and entrepreneurs are listening. And so you're often involved with leading other people, projects. You might have a big business, teams. You might have peers that you're navigating, your boss even. So I just want to talk for one moment about leading others. Imagine you're going to a meeting and you're walking into the meeting room and there's a big board table. And you walk in because energy impacts energy. That is just science, physics. So you walk in and you kind of sense that the guy, there's a spare seat next to this guy and he's jiggling around and he's looking at his watch and you can sense that he's stressed. He's just exuding it. And then there's another chair empty next to a guy who's just sitting there, relaxed, smiling. He's centered, he's grounded, he's calm. Who do you want to sit next to? You know who you want to sit next to. And that's because we're designed to go in that direction. We're designed to meet life in a calm and present manner. And we affect others when we're caught up doing our bad day behavior, when we're stressed, when we're away from home, not hearing our own wise self, we emit an energy too. And so the single most helpful thing you can do to calm others down is be calm yourself. I call it the grandmother syndrome. Most of us have flown on a plane somewhere and the baby's screaming on the plane and the mother's hyper stressed and the baby's screaming and the mother's stressed and everybody's hearing it. And then some kindly grandmother or air hostess comes over kindly and says, hey, do you want a break? Shall I just jiggle the baby around and walk up and down? Minute that baby is picked up, baby settles down. Baby mother goes, you know, kind of likes it and kind of doesn't. And what's really going on there is energy impacts energy. The grandmother is centered, seen it all before, held 100 screaming, crying babies. The baby wants to go in that direction and naturally settles. It's the tuning fork effect. If you put out a signal, a sound of calm, people will gravitate towards it. So I'm not going to speak more about how you lead others because clearly leaders go first on centering and grounding and finding the calm within and making space for that. So I am feeling like it's time. Um, we've got like 25 minutes. So I'd like to move us to the practical part of today and give some space at the very, very end if you have questions. But I just like to move us all to the practical part. So if you've got a notebook or a piece of paper, I want you to kind of go to a fresh page now. And we're just going to do a little reflection for a few moments. And I am just going to bring up that slide. What advice would you give yourself for the next time the ground shifts beneath you? So maybe we talked at the beginning about you having some kind of change that you're aware of. Could be coming down the line, some uncertainty. You've all had a chance to listen to me and to Sarah a little on our stories. You've heard me speak about what wisdom is, how you find it, and how you can trust it, and what gets in the way. You've had your pair where you were chatting with somebody and you got a golden nugget. So there might be something in there for you. I remember Sarah saying, I'm always okay. I can navigate anything that comes my way. For me, it always works out. I've got everything I need to navigate. So, you'll have your own version of that. So you've had quite a lot of places that could trigger your own insight. This is a moment now, just breathing in, taking a moment. And if you want to, for the next few minutes, just go off camera just to be reflective. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. You can stay on camera if you like, but I'm going to give you 2 minutes. And I'd like you to write in your notebook, what advice am I going to give myself the next time the ground has come away from my feet? I'm feeling ungrounded, unsettled, uncertain. What advice am I going to give myself? So I'll just give you a minute or so to really write that down, get that clear. Okay, just finishing that up there. I'd love to hear from one or two of you. So if you could just pop back with your faces on camera, just one or two of you, what kind of advice did you give yourself? I'm just gonna call on you. Stacey, what was your advice to yourself?
Hi. Mine's quite wordy. Mine is trust your own wisdom and insights in the moment, and then time will help you see clarity.
I love it. It's brilliant. It's exactly right. And it's exactly right for you. I love that. It feels good. Sort of feels settling. What about you, Steph? If you wish to share.
Mine's not as articulate. Stacey's was brilliant. But mine was first of all to kind of catch myself and
Yeah.
notice because I was saying earlier, I can kind of stay in this sort of state for a long time.
Mm.
And then kind of do something physical, whether that's breathing exercise or physical exercise, something to kind of break the after catching myself. And then figure out what's going on for me, and then have a bit of a reset and trust the universe. So I've always sort of said that. That's always been a mantra of mine, but I don't think I always put it into practice. So, but recent kind of like events have kind of really reinforced that I do believe that, and yeah, reinforcing that I think is important.
I love that. And, you can simplify it. When I catch myself, do what makes sense, brackets, do something physical, e.g., something physical, and trust the universe. I feel like that's super powerful for you. And you're absolutely right. And I can't help myself. I'm just going to go for it. There's something out there, Steph, this is for you, Steph, but other people may be earwigging, but this is between me and you, Steph. There's something called the Telepathy Tapes podcast, and it's a game changer. It's a paradigm shift for science, and it proves that there's something bigger, a bigger intelligence that we're all connected to. It's called technically non-local consciousness, and science is finally catching up with reality. Those tapes, anyone who listens to them, it will change your life. They're using non-speaking autistic people to demonstrate telepathy, incontrovertible scientific fact.
So the podcast is called
I'll put it on
Telepathic. Oh, bro.
I'll put it on our resources, the telepathy tapes. And it's proving what 80% of people believe in God. Well, according to AI, what do we know? But 80% of people apparently believe in some kind of higher power. So it's not a big stretch for most people. But this non-local consciousness or collective consciousness, it's actually now bit proof. It's the only thing that actually makes sense of all the things like telepathy, etc. And it's now meeting science is catching. And one of the main reasons it hasn't caught on, because it's always been true, is the scientific paradigm that we live in of a material world. We do live in a material world, but we live in another world that's before that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I'm going to say about that. I may have lost the room. I just know it's the truth is out there. Okay. Grace, why don't you just give me yours and then we'll move on.
Yeah, mine was really to just tap in when I'm feeling that unsettled, like the ground shifting, to really tap into myself and not
Yeah.
others. So I think I could be
Mm.
reliant on seeking a lot of external knowledge for reassurance, but
Yes.
actually, like you said, what I need is within me, and I need to remember to actually look inwards first before kind of being like a meerkat and looking out and looking at everything else. So I think I need to become almost a bit tunnel visioned in those moments and just think actually yeah, find my settle, find my kind of inner wisdom and tune into that and not the opinions and thoughts and anchoring myself into lots of the external stuff.
Yeah, so for some people, this is why for some people phone a friend is good. For some people, phone a friend is bad. So it's
Mm,
not the phone a friend part. It's your own knowing of what you need. Like Steph said, I need to do something physical to break the pattern. You have within you, and it will change moment to moment because you don't need, you will know what you need given the weather. You kind of know to take your umbrella when it's raining, right?
yeah.
You don't need to have your umbrella with you at all times, ready to, there's something in you. Oh, except maybe you do if you live in England. But, there's something in you that is going to tell you when you need your umbrella.
Mm.
And I love that, Grace. It's perfect. Oh, look, we've only got 15 minutes and I want to do a little exercise. Are you going to come on the journey with me and do a little exercise where we go into the future and we resource you? And then we'll wrap. Okay. So again, cameras off, because for this one, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. So let's all do that. And then we'll do this. So we're going to do a future pacing exercise now, something that athletes do all the time. So I want you to imagine that yourself being resourceful, like you are right now. And if you've brought an object, you can have that in your hand right now. It might be a piece of jewelry. I've got a little crystal heart. If you didn't get that memo, don't worry about that. We'll just use your thumb and your forefinger on your right hand and press them together. And this is a way of anchoring. So just gently press your thumb and forefinger together now. And I want you to remember what you've written, your advice to yourself. Say it slowly in your mind. And let it land inside you. And notice how it feels as you say it. And notice how it moves you towards a sense of inner security, safety, home. reassuring. Good. Now I want you to imagine a moment in the future where you might be feeling unsettled or uncertain. It could be a change that you're currently navigating or a crossroads that you don't yet fully know how to handle. And what do you feel like? What feels like it's at stake navigating this? And just let yourself feel that for a moment. Now, bring your words back to you, your own wisdom, the wisdom you just gave yourself. And let those words come alive inside you. Notice what shifts in your body. Notice what shifts in your mind. Notice what shifts in your heart. And notice how you are able to navigate that situation. You're able to respond. You're leading yourself from the inside out, not forcing, not controlling, just letting your own wisdom lead. Dial that up. Feel that more. And let your nervous system register this. And gently holding your thumb and forefinger or squeezing your object, fully strengthen that feeling of letting your own wisdom lead. And that's your anchor. And when any real moment of change arrives, you can touch your finger and thumb together or hold your object, and your body will remember that you have everything you need. Okay, so when you're ready, just slowly come back to the group space. Put your camera on so I can see your lovely faces. So nice having you on camera. Okay, so we've spent the best part of an hour and a half. It seems to have gone really quickly. How are you feeling right now? Just put one word into the chat. How are you feeling right now? I'll play two. Oh, we're all calm. Love it. Optimistic. Terrific. So that's the version of you that is the settled one, the one with the snow globe settled down and the space within where you can hear yourself. And you just can know that that's always there. Sometimes that's like the sun inside you. Sometimes weather can come and go, obscuring that, the noise of the shoulds. That's life. Then we just do what makes sense, like Steph, like we've all said, do phone a friend or don't phone a friend, do something physical. I find I've got a 5-minute breathing tape I'm going to send you. I find it just takes me that just 5 minutes of breathing in this particular simple way. I always feel different at the after 5 minutes than I did at the beginning. So I will send you that as well. Breathing and telepathy tapes. And I also want to just say very briefly, I am running a Wise Leader Circle for 8 people. I've got half places booked. So there's another 4 places as of today. And the Wise Leader Circle is 9 weeks, 9 people, including me, 1 breakthrough, And we cover this, we go deeper on all of the things that we talked about here. You get 3 universal keys and 3 personal keys. So 3 things that are true for everyone, which are illuminating, and then 3 personal keys, which will be, who are you really? What is your magic in the world? And how do we dissolve what's stopping you, that habit of thinking? For example, for Grace, it would be always asking other people what they think. There might be a habit. So we dissolve your biggest blocking habit, and then with your habit dissolved and you knowing who you are, you create a vision for what you want, what you really, really want. And if you put out into the world what you really, really want, and you're aligned behind it, the world lines up to give it to you. As Steph knows, we can trust the universe. So I will send you the link to that Wise Leader Circle. It's a way of getting access to me. I've realized since writing my book, I want people to know this, especially in times of challenge and change, especially if they're in a leadership role. What a difference it would make if every leader understood how to calm themselves and listen to a wiser, higher power that manifests through them. I think that's a good thing. But go first. I bought myself time. I've got enough time to read you my poem because I wrote this poem in 2019, so before all the things. And it just came out like one of those channeled things. Sometimes, you're so present, something comes through you, a piece of art or an idea, or in my case, poetry. So I'm going to leave a few minutes at the end for questions if anyone has any about today. But what I think I'm going to do is really just thank you for showing up today. And I'm going to read you my poem called The Story of Should, and how we can end up listening to narratives in our head of what other people think and say over our own wisdom. So, but there's hope. So, the story of shoulds began long ago. It's a story of highs and a story of lows. This human endeavor, this mortal coil, is often a story of hard work and toil. Life's not meant to be just easy or light. You have to earn that. It's not your birthright. That's the message we get from a very young age. There's a right way to be, says the book and the sage. And the carers who show us from our tender years, this is right, this is wrong, and foster our fears. It's all done sincerely, for they were told too what is good, what is bad, what is false, what is true. But we were born a blank canvas, a life to be painted. The first marks of the brush by our elders were tainted by what their own canvas had turned out to be. They didn't know either. Done innocently. We inherit a story of how to begin, what success really means, and how to fit in, embellished with judgment, expectation, and needs. Never mind the real world where the heart really bleeds. For its ideas and concepts and laws of what's right that might have worked once for another's dark night. But can we be sure that means it's true now for us in this moment to find our way, how to deal with a new world so different to theirs, new issues and challenges, fears and despairs? It supposes that we don't have deep inside our wisdom to teach us, our own inner guide. The shoulds of our past were pointers at best, a place to explore from and make our own test. There is wisdom abounding through humanity, but no one size fits all. That's up to me. To listen more deeply and feel into truth, go further than diktats expressed in our youth. In stillness and quiet and calm can be heard a mentor within who is clear and assured, and who offers a knowing, a pure flute-like voice, suggesting that maybe I do have a choice to go beyond others and what they might say to what is my knowing right now for today. If there were just one thing to do, if we could, it's to tell our own truth, not the story of should. So I am going to send that poem to you. And oh, we've got some hearts. Thanks, Grace. And the book is a manuscript. It's not published yet. I'm in the process of speaking to the publishers that I want. So it's going to come out when it comes out, but I will be very happy to send you, I will send you the Gamechanger chapter that relates to everything we've covered today. It's like an article. So I will send you that. And as a little teaser taster, because it basically follows a lot of what we've covered. It's when I wrote that chapter, I was like, everyone should know this. And that's really what's motivated me to do these free masterclasses. Let me see if there's anything else to say. I think there isn't from me. There might be from you. If you wanted to say anything in the chat, feel free to. Otherwise, if you want to stay, if you've got questions. But I'm going to call it a wrap today. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. I personally need to see faces that rather than cameras to talk to. And you've made the session what it is today, because I had my notes. I did most of them. Some of them I didn't do. I did other things. That's wisdom. You do your plan, then you put it away and you let it lead you. And I hope what you did get was of useful value of interest. Oh, I'm an incredible human being. Thank you. I'll take that today. Thanks, Steph. Oh, I miss my Evolve crew. Okay, guys, I'm going to call it here. I'm going to start recording.